All right, and here we are talking with Dickie Betts, former Allman brother and current member of the Great Southern. Dickie, it's good to have you with us.
Yeah, good to be able to chat with you for a little bit.
Yeah, tell me about. I saw your latest band, your latest incarnation of the Great Southern last time you were in town here at the House of Blues in Cambridge, where you'll be this coming Tuesday night.
Yeah.
For two shows, the 7:30 and 10:30 shows. Tell me who's in the band these days.
Well, it's the same guys you saw then. It's Mike Koch on piano, and he does some singing, and Dan Toller on lead guitar, and myself on lead guitar, of course, and singing, and Chris Jensen from Bronx, New York, on tenor horn and flute, and Brother Dave Stoltz from Hartford playing bass, and from Boston, Mark Greenberg on drums, and from New York, Frankie Lombardi on drums and percussion.
For some reason, the last time I saw you, I thought that was Mark May on the saxophone. I don't know why.
Mark played guitar when the band first came together. And then, he had some obligations he had to go back to with his record company and his recording deal. So that's where Danny came in.
Okay. And the new album.
The horn player is Chris Jensen. He's been there from day one.
Gotta say the latest band really sounds great, and the new CD Collector's Number One is a nice eclectic mix of some what would you call some
influences, I think. Just things that have influenced my music that I probably would never record a lot of some of that stuff, like The Preacher, for instance.
The sort of upbeat Western swing kind of
tune.
And
I would probably not do a Bob Dylan cover if I was doing a Dickie Betts rock and roll album,
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I call it the Collectors. It's started, it's kind of a double meaning, like I made it for the guitar aficionados, the collectors.
Sure.
And then it's also a collection of tunes, just a collection of, I do some Delta blues on it, and do some Western swing, and do Tangled Up in Blue on there, and do a chieftain type old country Irish tune that I wrote called
the very first tune,
Beyond the Pale. Yeah. So it's quite an interesting little project.
Yeah, I really think it sounds great. Really, a lot of upbeat, lively stuff that really brings out. There's a real sense of joy in the music.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with it.
I like the. What was the inspiration for the new take on "Change My Way of Living"? Sort of more of a slow blues than that.
We were just screwing around with it. I wanted to try and see how it would come off. I wish to hell I edited it a little bit because Jesus Christ, I mean it's 14 minutes long, for a slow blues. I would have liked to. I think it'd be a better tune if I'd have cut it down to about 8 minutes.
Yeah, it does seem to go on.
But hey, let me ask you a question. I hear you can change clothes in the barrel of a 20-gauge shotgun. You're so skinny. So why do they call you Mighty Slim?
That's I'm another skinny Southern boy from Tampa, Florida.
No kidding.
Yep.
You're just an hour drive from my place. I'm in Sarasota.
Now, is it true you live on Forest Street?
Huh?
I don't want to give away your address, but is it true you live on Forest Street? There was a rumor that.
I have a place out there. Actually, some friends of mine are living on it now, and it has it's back kind of in the woods. It has a long driveway, and my mother, when I built her a house there, and bless her heart, she's gone now, but she named the street Forest Drive. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm actually living in Osprey now.
Okay.
I mean, I still have the place there, but I rent it out to Bud Snyder.
The sound engineer?
Sound guy,
yep.
Yeah. And I'm living in Osprey.
How did you? I hear that TC Carr plays some nice harmonica on the record.
Yeah, that's TC. on there as a guest, and
I know he'd been with T.C. Carr and the Catch
and
for a
Dave
while.
Lyle's my old guitar mentor. Is the guy sitting to the left of the right of me on that little chair sofa we're sitting on there, and then Lenny Ski is the fiddle player that I had just met, and I had him play on a couple things on the two Western swing things I did.
How did you hook up with TC? Did you meet him from?
I've run into TC for years. We're all from the same area down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of your early beginnings. I heard you started off playing mandolin.
Oh, I started playing ukulele
as your first instrument?
when I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
And my uncles all played, and so that, to me, I would just try to join in. And I actually could play some tunes on it. And then I went to the other stringed instruments, and when I got to be about 16, I decided I wanted to play electric guitar because of the hot cars and the pretty girls and the rock and roll and the whole thing. So my first traveling show was, my first road trip was with a traveling state fairs, and we would play a tent show called Teen Beat, and we'd do about 20 shows a day. Little short shows, and
what type of material?
Pack up and head to the next town. It was a lot of cover stuff. You got to realize this was a long, long time ago. We'd do a lot of Chuck Berry stuff and do splits, and I could do all the Chuck Berry move, duck walks and splits, and how Chuck does that funny little walk he does on one, skipping,
Sure.
And it was just our show would last about 30 minutes, and we'd do all kind of antics, and but it was a good little rock and roll band. But it was like one of our first bands. But it was a great experience. But
how did the Second Coming come about?
I had a group. Oakley and I started playing together, and we had a group called the Blues Messengers, and we were playing at a place in Tampa called Dino's.
Is that still there? Or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Is it still as Dino's, or is it something else?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But anyway, this guy from Jacksonville had a big club that he was opening, like a psychedelic type club, quote.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted us to come there and play, but he wanted to change the name of the band to the Second Coming because he thought Barry looked so much like Jesus. And we thought it was pretty corny, but it was a great job he was offering us. So we said, "Hey, call the band whatever you want to, if you like it." So that's how we went to Jacksonville, and then the rest of it has been told a million times how Duane and we knew Duane and Gregg for a long time before he actually got together playing.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's on the Dreams box set. There was the release of the Second Coming singles of "I Feel Free" and "She's
that
Has
was
Funny Cars."
That really, there was so much other stuff they could have done, but
they could have put on the box set, or
but they said those we did in a studio. The reason we did those two songs is to send those two. We would send that. The only reason we recorded those two songs is to send to club owners to try to get gigs.
Mm-hmm.
What's supposed to be a record.
Sure.
And so we tried to get them to put on. We were doing a lot of the stuff from the East West, Paul Butterfield stuff, and we was doing our own arrangements. Kicking into 6/8 time and stuff like that. But the recording quality wasn't as good because they were live recordings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how those two tunes wound up on that was really not indicative of what the Second Coming was really doing. I mean, we did some of that kind of stuff,
mm-hmm.
but we did a lot of original stuff, and original arrangements. I mean, we were doing "Don't Want You No More" with Second Coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Did you do it? Did you do it instrumentally all the way it became?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it went through some changes, of course, when we joined up with Duane, and we kind of reworked it, but basically we played it. It was an instrumental.
Mm-hmm. Now I understand that you say that the twin sort of lead guitar sound that is definitely, there's some feature on that on the new record that came from a lot of sort of 30s Western swing bands.
Yeah, I think so. Hanging around Dave Lyle and watching him play with other guitar players and twinning, and like the Second Coming, we had 2 guitars in that band, and I just always enjoyed playing with other lead instruments, instead of, I mean, I've got tenor horn and 2 lead guitars
mm-hmm.
to play the tonic and the third and the fifth. That's what we do most of the time.
Sure.
And it's just it's a lot of fun, to build melody with the different tones.
What would you say? Obviously, that's the advantage of playing with other lead instruments. What advantage? I always wondered the advantage of playing with 2 drummers like you did in the Allman Brothers, or sometimes even 3 when Mark Quinones was with the band.
Well, sometimes it's not necessarily an advantage. Sometimes it just gets to be like a freight train running over you, But if you get 2 drummers that want to work well, I always got a kick out of the way Garcia and Phil Lesh and Kreitzman and the guys worked to their music with 2 drummers,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to we try to think along those lines with their stuff. We don't want to just crash through everything, with sheer power.
Sure.
But of course, the thing about playing with other lead instruments is that not only the harmonies you can play when you're doing the melody, but geez, I mean, you got all kind of places to go with piano, organ, saxophone, twin, and then 2 lead guitar players. You can really stir some shit up,
Mm-hmm.
when you want to go into some jamming.
Sure.
And so it's just there's a lot of stuff coming out of that. It's a 7-piece band, and they're all heavy hitters.
Yeah, it's really one bang up band. I would have to say the last time I saw you was probably one of the best club shows I've seen in a while. Now,
well, that's a tough little room to play, but it is a lot of fun. People love it.
I really think that the power of the band definitely transcends the room, and that's one of the things that makes it sort of magical.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
well, that's.
How would you say musicians talk about sort of the zone, getting into sort of that space where things can sort of come out from a. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, things can sort of come out from a higher place than sort of the intellectual self or whatever. The zone. How would you say that? We're.
Do you mean while I'm playing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just call that transcending technique. It's simply put, when people use the term, just get out of the way and let things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the athletes call it, getting in the zone.
Sure.
It's kind of just letting spontaneity happen and not try to be so analytical and thinking your way through everything. It's simple as that.
Now, what would you say? Obviously, so many bands recorded, Fillmore albums, and for those, like myself, the young tykes in the audience, who never attended a Fillmore show, there seems to be sort of this magic and mystique about the Fillmore, and there always seems to be.
For good reason. That was a magical place.
What was it about the about the Fillmore that sort of brought out that kind of
Bill Graham. It was Bill Graham that created the magic there, and he did it with a whole new presentation of rock and roll music. He presented it more like Broadway, with curtains opening and colored lights that are there every night with the same guys running them. These colored oil shows that move with the music, showing cartoons in between band changes, and that's what the idea was that we were trying to do back when I was with the AB.
Mm-hmm.
is kind of recreate that old Fillmore look, but yeah, the magic was Bill Graham. But having said that, Bill Graham was could create magic because he knew how to put the right bands together, bring them in under a very different kind of setting than people were used to seeing rock and roll bands. It was the first stage I ever played on that I saw the drum kits on wheels that could roll out, and then you could just quick change the set.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was it. It was Bill. That's another. I got to do one more talk with somebody, and that's him there.
Okay.
I'll let him call back.
I'll just ask you, one or two more things and let you go here.
All right.
Yeah, I always felt that, there was a strong influence of, especially during, say, solos like Dreams, where, you really, sort of, introduced a few notes, and the phrases really sort of built with a nice sort of minimalism that kind of grew. And it always reminded me of sort of Miles Davis's approach on Kind of Blue. Was there I know you've been influenced by jazz. Could you?
No, yeah, I named a tune very cleverly, Kind of Bird.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a combination of, Warren and I wrote that together, by the way, and we were, whether we accomplished it or not, I don't know, but we were trying to put our influences from the study of Miles Davis along with Charlie Parker.
Mm-hmm. So
doing a play on Kind of Blue, we called it Kind of Bird. Very clever, It's a pretty cool piece of music, though.
Yeah, it was a. Yeah, it's
no, in other words, to answer your question, yeah. I mean, I've really watched what Miles Davis did very closely. How he would bend notes and build a melody on off of one tone.
Sure.
And how he used a little dissonance on purpose, to create tension, and yeah, he was something.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, we'll close here in a second. But have you ever heard Frank Zappa's version of Whipping Post?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think
I
of
do,
it?
Frank. Yeah, he was some kind of guy. Fuck, I love everything he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brown shoes don't make it. She's only 13 and she knows how to be nasty. Jesus. Yeah. He was a pretty far out cat. I mean, he used those hard fives and parallel fours and fives. Real hard edge sound.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. Which, as a matter of fact, I do too, but not. I don't build my whole pieces of music on that sound. But Frank was a very imaginative fellow.
Indeed. Well, we'd like to thank you for talking with us, Dickie. Would you want to remind the people out there that you will be in town this upcoming Tuesday for 2 shows at the House of Blues?